You have an article up on TexasFootball.com with your Hipster Picks.
I stole that from you guys, by the way.
Hipster. We are the preeminent Texas high school football hipsters.
Oh,
so
sure.
welcome to the club.
Yeah.
You explain to folks exactly what you think qualifies as a hipster pick, and then maybe run through who exactly would be your hipster picks.
So I think a hipster pick is someone who a team that's flying a little bit under the radar that has a chance to greatly exceed expectations and greatly exceed the talk around them upcoming the season. It could be a team that was really good last year, but for some reason no one's talking about them. A team that wasn't so good that maybe has a shot to get to the playoffs. It's one of those teams that you can say in week 11, I told you so.
Okay.
So it's one of those kind of teams.
It's the kind of team that like you want to be at the you want to be like around the water cooler talking with your buddies, and they're like, "Oh man, I'm really excited about Allen. Like I think they're going to be really good. Oh man, you got to watch out for Cibolo Steel, or
Yep.
oh man, can you believe Salina's going to be good?" And then you come up and you say, "Hey, what about Dripping Springs?" One of those teams?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
One of those teams. So, a couple on the list. Schertz Clemens,
Yeah.
for example.
Oh.
Great team, had a great year last year. Went to the quarterfinals. I mean, but, no one talks. They don't even get talked about in their own city. Everybody talks about Steele and Judson, and you have Lake Travis and Westlake moving to Region 4. No one's talking about Clemens. Hey, guys, they have Frank Harris in their team.
They got that
pretty
dude.
good.
If they can play any lick of defense, they struggled on defense last year. If they can improve on defense, they're going to score points. Frank Harris is that good. I
Yeah.
think they're a team that could really make some noise. No one's talking about Amarillo High that much. The Sandys.
We've talked a little bit about that.
The Sandys.
You're sitting on a Sandy shirt.
Yes.
Right there.
Back there.
It's a Sandy
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about Denton Ryan and
yeah.
Colleyville in Region 1.
Yeah.
Amarillo has a shot. Amarillo beat Tascosa last year,
Yep.
who gave Denton Ryan all they wanted. There's no
Yeah.
reason Amarillo can't win Region 1.
For sure.
But no
For
one's
sure.
talking about Amarillo except for Dave Campbell's Texas football.
Mm.
And probably Lance Lawnert. Hey, Lance.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, Lance.
Shout out to Lance.
I think Frisco Independence is a team that really has a shot. They could start 4-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. if you
Looking
look
at their schedule, they
Yeah.
new schools typically year 3 they kind of get it rolling. This is
Right.
year 3 for Independence. They had some good sub-varsity. I talked to Lee Wilkins over at Princeton at the scrimmage Thursday, and he mentioned how strong their sub-varsities were last year at Independence. You add in Dominic Williams, Kansas commit, transferred in from Bishop Dunn, a favorable early schedule. They get some confidence, get it
Yeah.
rolling. I think they got a shot. Frisco's always really balanced. I think they have a shot to do some damage.
Well, and especially to talk about Frisco Independence for a moment, I wonder if there is about the mental barrier, about how there was the moments like, oh, well, no Frisco ISD team's ever really done much, and stuff. And then all of a sudden, Frisco Lone Star storms into the state championship.
Oh, hey, we
game.
can do this.
And in a
Yeah.
lot of respects, I mean, they were in that game for most of that game. Now Cedar Park was a fantastic team, but I wonder if there's that mental aspect for a team like Frisco Independence that could be like, wait, why not us? Why
Exactly.
not us? Why can't we go and do it? So you can check out all of Matt Stepp's Hipster Picks on TexasFootball.com. All right. We are now in the thick of week 1. You're going to be on the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Radio Hour tonight.
I'm very nervous. You and Max will have to carry me on that.
Which is on Texas State Networks, by the way. We'll promote it on Twitter here in a moment. Exactly where you can hear it. But we're going to be talking a lot about week 1, doing a kind of a previews of the biggest games. Which games? Actually, no. Let me start with this. A lot of big time teams are playing teams from out of state. So, for example, Port Arthur Memorial is playing Panama City Bay. Bishop Gorman from Nevada is playing Cedar Hill. South Lake Carroll and Euless Trinity are playing teams from Oklahoma. This is gonna sound more negative than I want it to. Does that interest you at all?
Not much.
Yeah.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, because I have no frame of reference.
Yeah.
I know Bishop Gorman's really good, but I don't have any frame of reference to compare them to other Texas teams. So, if Cedar Hill loses by 21 or wins by 21, there's
Right.
really no frame of reference there. And to be perfectly honest, I don't care about teams from out of state that much.
Yeah, and for me, like,
no offense to those teams,
No.
but I like Texas high school football. So,
like, I go back to last year where Euless Trinity beats De La Salle out of California, who was supposedly the number 1 team in the nation. They beat them, and then they get bounced in the first round.
Exactly.
Now, admittedly, that was it wasn't a fluke. South Grand Prairie beat them, plain and simple. But I mean, that was decidedly an upset. But still, I think you're exactly right that these out-of-state games, there's not a great reference. Like, this doesn't – week one for me is about – I want to learn more about these teams, and I just don't know if I'm going to learn a whole lot by watching South Lake Carroll beat Tulsa Union or whatever.
Yeah, and it's week one. There's always quirky, weird results in week. I guarantee you, high school football fans – week one, there will be 4 or 5 games where you're like, what?
Yeah.
There's always, in week one, there's just always weird results. So you throw that in with the fact that there's no frame of reference, and the rules are different, and it's just, no offense to those teams, they're great teams.
Right.
And Hoover's a great team. Bishop Gorman's a great team. Panama City, Florida, I'm sure is a very good team. There's always a lot of great teams, but it's just I don't have a frame of reference for it. And honestly, I'm a Texas football elitist. So
we're homers.
Yeah.
We're unabashed Texas high school football homers, and that's a flag that we will wave proudly. The other was it week one when Stephenville lost to that team from Mexico?
Yeah,
that was week one.
Yeah, Monterey Tech. Yeah, one of them. And Monterey Tech.
That's a perfect example. And then they ended up going and did they win a title that year? Or they were at least in it. They were in
I can't remember if that was the year they lost. They won it all, or if that was the year they lost, like late in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But Stephenville was a good team that year, and it's just,
All right, so week one, which games are you most excited about? I know you're going to be at the Star.
Star. Max, let Max, when you walk in, just walk in, just in the press box, and just
It's gonna be too early in the morning.
Over-exaggerated.
It's gonna be way too early in the morning for
So
that.
you-
It's that Independence game's at 9.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be
9
getting up at like
Football
7
and
that
donuts,
morning.
yeah.
There's no way.
So you're going to be going to certain games. You're going to be going to some games. What, whether you're going to the game or you're not going to the game, which games are you most excited to see what happens in?
I'm going to avoid some of the obvious ones because those games will get talked about. Like Katy Westlake, that's a great game. Cedar Hill Bishop Gorman, Allen Hoover, all those games are great games. They'll get talked about a lot. I think some of the ones that I kind of off the radar a little bit. I think I haven't seen a lot of talk about it, but I think Houston, Lamar, and Spring Westfield is going to be a fantastic way to open the season on Thursday night in Houston. 2 supremely talented teams. A lot of expectations this year. Westfield's in Region 2, Lamar's in Region 3, so they won't see each other in playoffs unless it was a state championship. But I think you can get a really good early idea of who in the Houston area is really going to be the team to watch, one of the teams to watch. Obviously Longview and Lufkin. I mean, that's just a good old-fashioned East Texas bloodbath when those two teams get together. Lake Travis Judson is going to be a great ball game as well. A game that I haven't seen much talk about. I think it's going to be really good in the small school ranks. I think Cisco and Breckenridge is going to be an excellent game.
Breckenridge can score.
Yeah, and talking to Coach Worrell at Brock, Breckenridge is the team they've had the most trouble with in district play the last couple of years. Cisco is always an elite team in the Division II ranks. I think they're a team to keep an eye on in a much tougher region. I think this is a good early litmus test for both teams to see where they stand in the grand scheme of things. Staying in East Texas, going back to East Texas, I think Gilmer, Liberty, Ilo. Always is going to be a tremendous game. Those are some of the ones that really stand out, just kind of jump off the page early at me.
And there's a couple of other ones. I think I'm super interested in Manville and Crosby. Manville and Crosby is going to be really, really fantastic. Excited about that. You know what? If you want to, I think a game that's flying under the radar, Denton Ryan and Lancaster.
Yeah, I talked about that game this morning with Steve Gamble at the Denton Record Chronicle.
Denton Ryan is our number one team in 5A, and they're our pick to win the 5A Division I state championship, okay? Man, you're talking about hipster picks? Is there ever a year that Lancaster is properly rated? I mean, it seems like they are always that team that's like we'll look at our rankings, and I need to adjust for it next year that every year they'll start the year, ranked, but not really in the top 10. And then they always overachieve. Chris Gilbert just always has those boys ready to go.
Yeah, I think, and actually I talked to Lancaster scrimmaged Duncanville last week. And obviously, results aside, he just texted me and said, man, Lancaster's really good.
Yeah.
He was very impressed with Lancaster and what they do. We all know about Denton Ryan. I think that's a game that is really going to tell us a lot early on about where in 5A what the pecking order is in the Metroplex as far as who are the big dogs to watch. Manville and Crosby, I think the biggest thing is I think people are kind of unsure about Crosby because Netherly's moving to quarterback. I watched him in 7-on-7, and he played Netherly. People don't really realize before he got to he played quarterback all up coming up, so he can spin it.
Yep.
Crosby's offense will be fine. Those two running backs they have Be very interested to see Manville replacing all of they lost graduation.
Lots of pieces.
Still plenty talented, but they're not as experienced. So Crosby has a lot more experience. So I think that'll be a real true test for those two early on.
Two more kind of off the record game or off the radar games I'm really excited about. El Paso Eastlake takes on El Paso El Dorado. If you're looking for a quality El Paso game early in the season,
there's a couple out there.
There really are, and I think that for El Paso we haven't talked a ton about them yet, but El Paso looks like a team. I don't think there's a Canutillo. I don't think there's a team that's going to drive into the state semifinals, but I think this is a very deep group of El Paso teams that, like, when you get 3 rounds deep into the playoffs, you're going to have 2, 3, 4 El Paso teams that survive.
Yeah, I think Eastlake probably of all the teams in El Paso has the best chance of making a significant run, maybe to the quarterfinals. Obviously, they're not going to have the numbers that El Dorado has, but El Dorado doesn't have quite the numbers they used to because of Pebble Hills opening up, and they pulled a lot from El Dorado. So Eastlake probably just with talent, frontline talent, has the most back. Obviously, El Dorado has Tyquez Hampton at receiver, who's the biggest recruit in the area. I think it'll be very interesting to see. El Dorado's breaking in a new quarterback. He's more of a runner, so can they still keep Hampton involved in the passing game as much as they'd like? I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Maybe a lot of points in that game.
It's an absurd week of Texas high school football. It's a great Week 1 slate, and we're going to have all of the games, all the big games previewed on TexasFootball.com coming Thursday morning. Is that right, Max?
Oh, baby, it's coming.
Thursday morning?
Thursday morning. I think around 10:30 or 11, right before the show.
So be by there. Be by the channel. He is Matt Stepp. He is the high school football insider for Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at Matt_Stepp817. 2 Ps. 2 T's, 2 Ps.
Yeah.